On flight lesson 2, we decided to go with the Trojan. Now, we went through several different types of aircraft to figure out what would be the next step up from the Champ. We felt that the Trojan is probably the next, well, would be the next step up. You're still small, you're used to that confined spaces, things of that sort. Parts availability, Parkzone does a great job on that. This thing is robust. I've got actually almost 2.5 years on this particular plane, all original parts. The landing gear is holding up. Everything has been, I mean, this has been abused. We had several newbies fly it. They abused it. As you can see, it's still in pretty good shape. We had, the worst accident we had with it was my brother and I went out and we hit a
deer.
Yeah, a deer. A deer was jumped up probably about 75 feet up in the air, clobbered it. We shot it, ate it. And that was great.
Yeah, I mean, what did you have to do? Replace a prop or something?
No, all we did was just put tape right there because it just bent the wing.
Oh, nice.
No, but it hit a power line, and which is going to happen from time to time, especially when you run out of things to do with airplanes and you go stupid on them. See, that's why they make batteries to last only about 7 to 10 minutes, because after that you start going stupid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I go stupid at 3 minutes.
Oh.
But, you know, that's the way we test these aircraft. So, but anyways, it's faster than Champ. You can also do takeoff rolls now. With the tri-gear, you're not going to get the propeller strikes, the prop strikes where you're going across concrete like you would on some of the tail draggers. And not only that, the nose gear is steerable. So you got a lot of control.
Yeah.
I cannot find anything negative about the Trojan. Nothing.
No.
There is
anything that could be even misconstrued as negative would really only just be. It's not negative. It's just different. It's a character. It's part of its character. And it's one of those things that's why it's a great second plane. You know, this one is configured differently than the Champ, where the wing is it's low. It's on the bottom. The plane doesn't have, it's got some dihedral, so there's a small tendency to self-correct, but nothing near the self-correction level as the Champ. So this one's going to keep you on your toes a little bit more. It doesn't have quite the glide ratio as the Champ does. You've seen in the earlier videos where the battery could expire with some altitude and the Champ would just keep on flying. You know, you make a circuit and a half or something around the field before it would come on down, and that was hands off. With the Trojan, and like many other warbirds, if you lose your power on this one, you're going to have to treat it with a little more respect. You're going to have to keep that nose down, which will keep your airspeed up. If you go trying to pull back on this one in a dead stick situation, you'll stall it. So it teaches you some things there, which are definitely going to be beneficial to learn on a nice lightweight aircraft such as this, which is so easy to fix if you do get into trouble. Like you mentioned before, a little bit of Scotch tape, you know, get you some CA glue and kicker from the hobby shop or online, and you're in business. So yeah, you know, you're going to learn this, let's say, upgraded character and more of a hot-rodded type of nature, which when you advance, these are things that are going to be typical of other aircraft you're going to run across. We're assuming you've seen the other lessons, so you know, we'll touch on the basics, but really we're going to assume you know them, and try to get more advanced with it and speak to the, you know, now we're using the yaw control with the rudder and 4-channel coordination. We're going to be able to do some more advanced types of maneuvers, and it is going to take a little bit more to stay on the ball with it.
Not only that, this flies more like a big bird. All the characteristics are there. Flying low rate when you first start out, just like we did in the Champ. Once you got your low rate settings, feeled out how the plane reacts, then you want to go to your high rate, and things are going to really get fun.
Yeah. You
can invert this plane; it flies inverted. You can do your split S, all your different warbird maneuvers. It's a spectacular aircraft, and it will take a lot more wind I was really impressed on the winds that you can fly this in. This can take it. Easy to see, white and red. I mean, the thing glows up in the air.
Definitely.
It's not something like some of the other micros that we have, that when you get more advanced, they blend in with the tree line.
And camo.
And the Spitfire on the new one, it's fun, but boy, you get that thing in the tree line, it disappears.
Right, you're flying by sound.
This one glows. Not only that, we fly this one in a parking lot with it's fully lit, and when the receiver light is on, the whole nose kind of glows. So that was another added feature. So we will be taking this out and doing all the pattern work. Pattern work that you want to do is, now we're going to use takeoffs. Hopefully you did that when they were with the Champ. We're going to be doing work in right-hand pattern as well as left-hand pattern.
Yeah.
We're going to do the stalls, slow flight, and this one will help you get ready for the bigger birds for landings, to get that nice, slow, constant descent rate. On this particular one, I fly it almost like the real thing as far as back pressure to get in slow flight and just compensate with throttle. And once you get that right on the pavement and hide that, just stay in that ground effect, and just you can get that thing just a couple inches off the ground, and you can stay there and just pull the throttle and it sets in real nice.
There you go. Yep.
And with the tri-gear, I love tri-gear, especially in a micro, because the pavement sometimes is, and you're going to get the cracks, you're going to get some weeds sticking up, rocks and things of that sort. But other than that, it's proved itself. I've probably got over at least 50, 60 hours on this easily, because I wasn't the only one flying this.
We showed you how multiple ways to land the Champ. We're going to be really geared towards powered on, under control. You know enough now not to let your battery expire. But yeah, like he said, you're going to be controlling. You establish that descent rate. And folks, you can do it a number of different ways, but I like to get lined up, chop the throttle, keep my nose down, and it begins to establish a descent. And I want to maintain that descent. If I were to leave the power off, it will slow down even more, and that descent rate will not be steady. It will change abruptly, probably in a stall. So once I've established that sync, I work the back pressure and the throttle to keep it the same rate till you get to the bottom, and you slowly increase the back pressure and cut and chop the throttle. And if you time it just right, you get a nice flare out of it. So that's what we're going to be going for with this one. We want to get you a little bit familiar with the coordination, the yaw control, which was. The Champ has rudder, but it was on the roll axis stick on your controller. The yaw here is on your throttle stick, so it's a bit of a secondary type of new input that you're going to be, your left thumb, if you will, that you're going to be using now that you haven't with the Champ, when everything was done for the most part on the right stick. Other than throttle, your throttle and rudder are on the same thumb, and so it's going to be a good thing to get your left thumb in your vocabulary. And
that's the reason why we chose the micro, because when you start working the left hand, up till now they didn't do much. All you did was go up and down. You got to be mindful that now when you're doing your rudder, to keep a coordinated turn, because you're going to be using aileron, a little bit of rudder to keep that coordinated turn, that nice, and to maintain altitude. You're going to have to, what do I want to say, train your fingers that you don't move up or down when you're using your rudder, because now you're going to be playing around with your throttle. Throttle makes a plane go up and down. The more throttle you got, it wants to go. Or the throttle will exaggerate what you're doing wrong. So if you got a dive and you hit your throttle, you're speeding up.
If you get in a serious kind of intense situation, you don't normally need the rudder. The rudder is one of those things you can get away without it. You really, as you're learning, and if you're new to 4-channel planes, the rudder is going to be more used for you on the ground, taking off, to keep the left-handed tendency at bay and the plane tracking straight. But we're going to show you how to use and get familiar with that left thumb by doing reversing our pattern, flying you in a figure 8, and then what we're going to show you is how without the rudder the plane will turn, but it will slip through it. And we're going and basically the nose will be up. Let's say I'm turning this way and it's all aileron input only, no rudder. You see how the nose is up and the tail's kind of dragging. It can handle it. A real plane, you wouldn't do this. You induce too much drag, you scrub off airspeed, and it gets dangerous. You want to fly through the turn. So we're going to do some figure 8s, just aileron turning and elevator. And then we're going to do some figure 8s where we have you coordinating that turn. And so a left turn, you're going to have a little left rudder, which is going to bring the tail up, and the plane will really fly through the turn rather than slip or skid through it. So we're going to get you up to speed with your left thumb doing some pattern work, advanced pattern work like that. And then when it comes time to keeping the torque at bay on the ground, it won't be foreign to you.
And also, you're going to be using rudder too.
On tricks.
Yes,
when you get to tricks.
But on the rudder issue, it's real small, so it happens, but you might miss it. But we want you to get used to rudder and proper rudder applications, because when you're coming in for a landing, you're not going to be using your ailerons to get back on your center line of the runway. You're just going to be yawing that plane. And all this does now is the rudder will be turning it just like this. You don't want to start doing one of these things. You just want small increments just to get up on that center line. Stick with the center line, and then that way you have coordinated landings. You look good at it. You're not going to be scuffing up wingtips going off into the nets or anything like that and scaring folks when you get into the bigger planes. So we want that nice coordinated landing.
Yeah.
Groundwork will be coordinated, and this is what we're trying to get you to that established, and this will do it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It really is. And you know, we want you to interact with us. So if there's something you're thinking of that you'd like to see with this that we're not giving you, let us know. Comment. Thanks again for those who subscribe. Thanks for watching. We're having a lot of fun with this. And for the short time we've been doing it, I feel like we've got a great response.
So with that, let's go out and show you in applications and practice of what to do next.